that before the maturity date.
They don't look beyond.
So all they see is this, and you got our hands tied.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca, go ahead. I can't. I don't know.
Well, you know, as I says, it is amazing to see a black man at this time. But I honestly believe that when Dr. King died, he was not rested in his grave.
No.
Because he was tossing and turning because of what he left behind. He says, I have a dream.
That's right.
And that dream was no other but President Barack Obama. And now he's able to rest in his grave peacefully.
Yes.
And enjoy the work that he has laid here. And we back here need not to sit down and take it for granted.
That's
we
right.
need to follow through, and we need to live what they say, walk the walk and talk the talk. Because we need to live one for another. If your brother next door is not well, stretch a helping hand.
That's right.
If he needs something, feed him. Do whatever you can for him. Okay? Not because he's not by blood, but
right.
in God's sight, we all are one. And this is what Dr. King has always been trying to do. And I hope each and every one, young, old, rich, and poor, may remember that Dr. King said, I had a dream, and
yes.
I will live to see my black brothers and sisters are not being
judged by the color of the skin.
Judged by the color of the skin.
Contents of the character. That's what Dr. King said. And you know what? And I'll say this right here to the community and to the church out there. You don't always have to know the star to celebrate them. You don't have to always, be in absolute contact with the star to know that they're a star, to know that they have something. Now, I'll say this right here, even at my aunt's funeral. Now, I tell you, this aunt here, 99 years old, if I saw her 3 times in my life, it's good. I was good. But she was the actual catalyst of all the aunts that we've had. I love my other aunts, my other married aunts, things of that nature. But she was, Ernest still had something. And everybody knew it. And she let you know she knew it.
And when she walked into a room.
Come on now. She had something.
The light went on.
Let us, we have to learn to celebrate one another instead of tearing each other down.
Before they're gone.
Come on now.
Amen.
Before they're gone. And you just reminded me, I went to a funeral, I guess it was in the fall. And I went to this funeral because the woman who died had been a friend of my mother's.
Okay.
And she was 99. This woman was 99
Bless her heart.
when she died. And I knew her from the time I was a little boy. And one of the things I always remembered about her was that she dressed.
Yes.
I mean, she'd come to church dressed to the nines. And it wasn't until I read her obituary that I found out that she had gone to the same college that I went to.
Okay.
She went to Pratt Institute in the 30s because her dream was to graduate from Pratt and go out into the fashion industry and become a designer. But that was a dream that was not to be fulfilled in New York in those days. So when she got out of school, she had to take a job working like most women in the fashion, and black women. She had to take a job working in the factory, sewing and doing, because the idea that she could be a designer was in nobody's except her mind. And yet she didn't know that in the church that we belonged to, that my brother and I had dreams of being an artist. We were little kids. I went into interior design, but my brother went into fashion.
Okay.
And we lost contact with this lady.
All right.
Because she and my mother, went in different directions, different paths. And it wasn't until I grew up and got married and we came to Plainfield that I met her again.
Okay.
And I thought, gee, if we had kept contact, my brother could have brought her into his factory, because my brother dreamed to be a fashion designer.
Okay.
He became a fashion designer, and he opened his fashion business on 7th Avenue.
Wow.
And but here was a woman who was part of the fruition of this dream.
Okay.
And yet we didn't have time. Time didn't cross our path so that she could have worked with my brother. But I'm saying all this because we now, with Barack Obama as President of the United States, we as black people have to look among, especially our young people,
Yes.
and talk to them about dreams, or engender them with dreams, and let them know you don't have to hold low.
No.
You can soar.
Yes.
All you have to do is think of what you want, and don't let anything block you from your dreams, and help them
Yes.
to go wherever they need to go. Because no longer need we take low.
No.
Because, as Barack Obama said, November 5th, I was the man that they voted for.
And and that's so important, because the other day I was in the supermarket and buying my rice and beans like I always do, and this little boy, a little black boy, couldn't be no more than 6 years old. He said, "Hurry up, mommy, hurry up." He said, "Because Barack, the president, coming on CNN tonight. I want to see the president." He was 6 years old.
Oh yeah.
He was 6 years old. And you remember, Rebecca, when we went to the Democratic convention, and I interviewed little kids. This little kid, he couldn't be no more than 3 years, 2 or 3 years old. I said, who you want to vote for, bro? He said, Barack. I said, I knew he was talking about, Barack. I'm voting, and then the little boy, he was 8 years old. Sister was 11, and they both said that they were voting for Barack Obama. You understand? At the convention,
Yeah.
So, what I like about this whole thing is that it's gonna bring us more into the mainstream, because, I know people that may even have PhDs that never take the time to listen to a State of the Union address. You understand? That, what I mean? I know people, right, that work in some of these big corporations and things, jobs that we would probably wish we could have, making the big figures, but don't take it personally in terms of the power structure of the nation. And if people are shaking up, some are shaking up because of this here, the change has come, and the mindset of the people has changed. You see, and with that mindset, that's all it takes is the mind. I think.
Change your mind.
Is it not the United Negro College Fund that said a mind is a terrible thing to waste?
And that is one of the horrors of this system that I know in my lifetime. I have met people. Well, to get through college, I worked in the post office.
Sure.
And I would sit down at night, and just by chance, I would talk to a guy, and come to find out this guy had a college degree.
That's right.
This guy had so much potential, but because of the prejudice and because he had to feed his family,
yes,
he took a job. Nothing wrong about the post office, but there he was sitting on a stool next to me, and he was going to stay there in the post office because the situation outside was not going to permit him to soar with his dream.
And Brother Weston, too,
And
is
that's a
that
crime.
the self-esteem that he might have had, that he really thought that he belonged there. Just like the self-esteem of a lot of the young people in the community think they belong in Rahway State Prison. You understand?
Oh, yeah.
They think that now. They think that that's their socialization. You understand me? I've been accused myself of, you know, when I see people and seen them in years, you know, what jail did you get out of yesterday? You understand me? Always a game and never a reality, never something true. You understand me? So the self-esteem, let's keep it real. The self-esteem is what chased the people that way. It's all about the mind. I think it was like when Muhammad Ali became heavyweight champion. He said, "I'm gonna be a champion the way I want to be." You understand me? I am the greatest of all times. You understand? So he changed the whole game. And I think that this here whole thing here is, if anything, is helping us to change the game. And let us not say, people say, well, you have no one to blame. Well, you know what? We never really blamed anyone. It's just that what people don't understand about the African American is that the African American is so different than anybody else because his ancient Egypt is right here in America. Most people run from their ancient Egypt. But what happens when your ancient Egypt is right in your backyard? You got to really lay it down. You got to figure it out. Now, I can tell people, say, you know what? You're going into ancient Egypt. Now, they may say, you don't know what you're talking about, but I've journeyed there, Brother Weston. You understand me? And I know ancient Egypt when I see it. So that's why sometimes God will set up things to counterbalance the conduct of evil. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't have said better words because things are changing, and they're changing so rapidly, and the only thing that I would like to push is that we sit down with our young people and we rescue them from this malaise, rescue them from this attitude that they can't have a dream.
That's right.
That they can't think of tomorrow. That they can't take a book. That it's a sin. That it's something awful to carry a book. I watch young people going to high school, Plainfield High School.
Go ahead.
And the boys, not the girls so much, but the boys think it's a horror to be caught with a book in their hand.
Crazy.
It's a horror to raise their hand in class and say, I know something about that. I know this. I know that. Change them.
Change. Let's change the ways because the sickness come with anything of the ancient Egypt. Go ahead, Rebecca.
But you see, right now, President Barack Obama, he's a role model. And they need to sit back and look at him. Take a page out his book. Because he came up the same rough, hard way too.
That's right, that's right.
But he had a determination. Okay? Ambition is not being taught. It comes from within. And you have to have a goal set in front of you and say, well, look, this is where I want to reach right there.
That's right, that's
and
right.
You're going to work towards it there. No matter what happens in life, no matter what goes on, my goal is right there, okay? And work towards it. He is coming from the urban area. That's one of the presidents. He's coming from the urban area in the east side of Illinois.
South
side of
Chicago.
Wasn't it something during the campaign that one of the nastiest things they found that they could say about him, that he had the nerve to leave or to graduate from college, graduate from law school, and instead of, with his background, with his achievement, gone into the big law firms and made the 6 figures, he had the nerve to go back into Chicago and into the community and teach the community and try to lift them up. They thought that was a joke.
Well, of course. I get it all the time.
That's what his spouse said. Mrs. Obama said he has always looked and he says, if I can do something for the community, to help the younger ones coming up. He says, I will do my very best. And he worked towards that dream. So it's nothing to be shameful of.
No.
That's where you start from, the community. The community is where because you must know about your community, what is happening in your community.
How can you save anything if you don't save yourself?
So,
amen.
And we are each other's keeper. And we at the end of this show, and I don't want this to sound any like a comical thing here, but I just want to throw out this right here. They had a celebration with the United Negro College of Patti LaBelle. And I want everybody to know, I am the Reverend Zachariah from the Church of What's Happening Now and leading pastor of the Town Talker Talk Show. I just want people to know this right here, that Patti still look good.
Oh,
I don't know
God,
whether
yes.
she's 50, 60, or 70, or 80,
And
but
sounds
and
great.
still sound good. And I want to say there's a young girl that had a little financial problems. Or what's the name? That sung the song. What's her name? From the Carolina girl. What's her name? American Idol girl. What's her name? I can't think of her name right now.
Oh, you mean whose family got
Yeah,
murdered?
no, not the murder, the other one. But anyway, she sung one of Patti LaBelle songs, and she sound Fantasia. Fantasia sounds so wonderful.
Yeah.
And then Jennifer Hudson sound good too.
Oh, yeah.
So we want to throw it all out. We're nothing but a family, and may God